If you're looking to level up your UX, content, or product design practice to confidently and joyfully tackle complexity, ask the million-dollar questions, and design digital systems that actually work, you are so in the right place. Welcome to the UX Level Up podcast. I'm Sophia, and for over a decade, I've been teaching professionals how to make the most valuable and often invisible parts of UX gloriously visible. We will untangle the structure beneath the surface before jumping into screens, saving time, money, and headaches, and having so much fun doing it. Together, let's UX collaboration, break down silos, and build shared understanding that sets everyone up for success. Let's become the systems thinkers that our teams, and quite honestly, the world, are so desperately craving. Let's level up our practice and redefine what it means to be a UX designer. Let's jump into it. What's up, OOUXers? Happy 2026. And I have today for you a kind of announcement, behind the scenes changes over here at OOUX HQ, and also a big ass lesson learned that you can apply to your work to help you level up. So this is basically me making a mistake on something that I preach all the time within my courses, within my consulting. And then I did it in my own business. I did it wrong. Made the mistake in 2025, and now we're fixing that mistake. And I am basically taking my own medicine. So what happened? Last year, we created a new kind of getting started with object-oriented UX entry-level course. We called it Foundations. And Foundations was amazing. We ran it as a live program last spring and then turned it into a asynchronous course. And it was basically like, we need something that is not the OOUX Masterclass, because the OOUX Masterclass is such a beast. It is 30 plus hours. After the refilm that we did in the fall, making it even more epic, adding even more to it, making it more high production and so much more robust. Yeah, it is 30 hours now. And we needed something to let people dip their toes in, something where they could get started in OOUX, starting to level up using object-oriented UX. So we wanted that kind of entry-level course. So we created Foundations, and Foundations was basically teaching you the discovery round of object-oriented UX. It had some collaboration pieces in there. It had a little bit more on auditing using object-oriented UX. So it was a little bit of a grab bag, and folks are still in it. It's a great program. But here's the problem. Is we didn't make it clear what the difference is between Foundations and the masterclass. So people got confused. They were like, why would I do the masterclass when I could do this? What is the difference? And this leads me to this lesson that I teach, which is about combining objects. So if you have two objects that are not exactly the same, but that are very, very close to each other. So let me give an example when it comes to system design. So when I was working in EdTech, one of the competitors that I was looking at to the product that I was working on, they had a concept within their system of a goal, and they had a concept of an objective. And these were, goal and objective, we can almost use those words interchangeably. And when you even looked at the structure of them and how they worked and the purpose of them, it was really squishy. Like, it was really, even as I was going in doing a competitive analysis, like, eyes wide open, trying to reverse engineer and analyze this competitor, I was like, I can't really tell the difference between these. Like, why would I set a goal versus an objective? They were different, but they were not different enough. And let me give you another example. So in the platform we use for the OOUX forum, which if you're not in, please come join, forum.oaux.com. It is free to join. The platform that we use is Mighty Networks. And Mighty Networks is great. We love it. It gives us a lot of functionality, and we can do very cool things as far as community. But they have these two objects. They have a post object and they have an article object. And they're like almost the same, but not quite. For example, a post doesn't have a title, but an article does have a title. There's like other differences too. Actually, like, I can't even really tell you right now the differences between them. There's other like really small differences that even after years of using Mighty Networks and creating articles and posts, like, off the cuff right now, I can't really tell you the difference. You can add different permissions around it. You can say, oh, only hosts can create articles, but everybody else can create posts, but not articles. So there's like weird things you can do with that. But what ended up happening with Mighty Networks is this was really confusing for people. It was confusing for me. I actually am in contact with some of the designers at Mighty Networks, and I talked to them about this, and they were like, yeah, we know. We would love more than anything to reverse that and combine those two objects, but the cat is out of the bag. So introducing two objects within, like from a technology perspective, as well as a mental model perspective, it's really hard to take them away or combine them back, which for the record is exactly what I am living right now, where I'm having to figure out what to do with these two objects that are very similar, but not quite the same. And now this is me right now doing the work of having to figure out what to do about this problem. So for Mighty Networks, they, as much as from an information architecture standpoint and from a maintenance standpoint and a simplicity standpoint, they would love to combine these back together. They have all of these networks out there, all these hosts that learned the difference between these and started leveraging the difference between these. And like it became part of their mental model, even though it was confusing that there are posts and articles. And now they can't go back from it. So this is one reason why it is very, very important to get really, really clear on your objects. And as you're doing your object discovery, as you are auditing them, as you are really trying to figure out what are the main concepts for my users, you want to look at objects that are like they're overlapping. They're like, oh, you know what? These words could be used interchangeably and they're like kind of the same, but they're not exactly the same. Often the best thing you want to do is just combine them. The other thing you can do, you basically have three options. One is combine them, just make it one object with like, some fields that maybe are not required. So for example, like making an article, just having the title not being required. So sometimes it has a title, sometimes it doesn't have a title, but let's just always call it a post. And posts don't actually have to have titles. That is much more simple than having these two different concepts with two different names that people have to learn. Okay, so in that case, I would have just combined them, made the one object. The other thing that you can do, the second thing you can do is further differentiate them. So make them more different, even renaming them, like, okay, off the top of my head, like instead of calling it a post, calling it like a quick post or something, or like a public message. Those are both horrible titles, but hopefully you get the idea here, is you can further differentiate them with your names, with even the structure of them, like make them shine as individual objects, all right? So number one, combine them. Number two, further differentiate them. Number three, just be okay with confusion and a lot of questions. And basically, you're going to now have an uphill battle where you're like, okay, we really want to keep, let's say, goals and objectives, but we're going to need to put little micro copy below those to like really give definitions. Like this is what a goal is. This is what an objective is. This is how they're different. So you're going to need to do a little bit more work to communicate the difference between those. Just expect that like these two things are very, very similar and kind of like maybe in the mental model overlapping. All right, fine. We're just going to need to do that work to make sure that people understand the differences between those. So Foundations and the masterclass was a classic case of this, where we had these two objects that were different. And from like our, internal perspective, we were like, oh, it makes so much sense that these are different. But then when we tried to communicate it to people were still confused. And it became this like uphill battle of how do we communicate what the difference between these two things are? So what we have decided to do is we've decided to combine them. We're going the combination route, and let me tell you how this is going to work. So that's the main lesson. Now I'm going to kind of go into like just an announcement for those that are in Foundations or those that are looking to get more training. This is going to be relevant to you on basically what our plan is moving forward. And you're going to see this if you're on our newsletter, OOUX.com/newsletter, then there's going to be more information about this. If you're already in Foundations, we're going to be sending you more information on basically you're going to get more. So that is always like our policy here is like, if we go back on something, then like if we change it, you're going to get the other thing too for free. So if you're currently in foundations, you're sitting pretty, you're just going to get even more stuff. So what we've decided to do, because we did do this refilm last fall for Masterclass 3.0, and it is so epic and we are so proud of it. And then we look at foundations and the content, the discovery round content that we have in foundations now was filmed in 2022. So it is just feeling a little bit dusty. And we're like, oh my gosh, this new content is so much better. Why don't we just give them that? So what we are going to be offering moving forward, and we don't have an official name for this right now. I'm calling it the Discovery Bundle right now, but like DM me in the forum if you can think of a better name for this. We've been playing with lots of different names, but for right now, we're calling it the Discovery Bundle. And basically what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to purchase just modules 1 through 5 of the masterclass, which is the badass, massive introduction to object-oriented UX with lots of exercises, incredibly interactive. And then the first 4 modules, which is objects, relationships, CTAs, and attributes in the discovery round. So that is really the core of the object-oriented UX process. That is what I was using for the first 5 years of practicing object-oriented UX. It really is the foundation of OOUX, and it is plenty to get you started, to get you leveling up, to make you incredibly dangerous with OOUX. It just doesn't include the requirements round, which is where like basically you turn the sticky notes over and you write on the sticky notes in a really amazing structured way and learn like to ask even deeper questions. The prioritization round, which gets you into like product management territory where you're looking at building out a roadmap. So, and like really kind of like interfacing with the business much more. So the prioritization round, that is also only in the masterclass. And then the representation round, we're still working on what you're going to get from the representation round. So likely you're still going to get the OOUX auditing piece. So what we're calling it is we're calling it the Discovery Bundle because it's going to be like the first 5 modules of the masterclass plus some little extra things to kind of get you started in the additional rounds. So that is what we're doing. We're going to have the Discovery Bundle, which is within the masterclass. And of course, like if you buy just the Discovery Bundle just to get started, then you'll be able to just pay the difference basically to get the entire masterclass when you're ready to upgrade to that. So hopefully does that feel more clear? I really hope that feels more clear. Please, if you're listening to this, go to the forum, DM me, let me know what you think. Okay, so I do want to keep this really short. Hopefully this doesn't feel like too much of an infomercial, but I do want to try to start to communicate and clarify what do we actually offer here in the way of training. If you go to OOUX.com right now in real time, it's not going to reflect this yet. We're still working on, again, how to communicate that. But the last thing I will say as far as like lessons learned here is the other perk of this from our perspective is maintenance, right? So the other thing about going this combination route is this is going to be so much better for us from a maintenance perspective. And this is true for you as well. If you are combining objects, if you're thinking about having 3 objects, you can combine it to 1 object. That's going to be so much better for maintenance. Think about Mighty Networks. They're now having to maintain the technology and the user experience behind these 2 objects, this post and this article object, when everyone would have been better off if it had just been 1 object. Same thing likely with this EdTech application that I was referencing where you have goals and objectives. They probably could have figured out a way to just make 1 of those and it would be more clear for the users and less to maintain as far as maintaining their application. So instead of us maintaining 2 courses and keeping 2 courses up to date, we will be keeping a single course up to date and letting you invest in just a subsection, just the foundational modules of that full masterclass. And this is, honestly, this is what you do not want us spinning our wheels maintaining 2 courses. Instead, I can be working on relaunching Crosslinked, the OOUX game, or finally getting the book out there and creating more free content for you here on the podcast. So anyways, short episode today. I hope this helps. DM me. Also, let me know if you feel like you have 2 objects that you're not sure if you should combine them or differentiate them. This is an amazing thing to bring to a Q&A session within the forum. We do monthly Q&A. It's going to be either me or a mentor will show up for that. If you are already in the masterclass, you get an extra Q&A once a month. So if you're already in the masterclass, you've got 2 Q&As that you can take advantage of every single month. So this would be a great question. I would love to play with this with you. Bring your system to me, bring your objects to me, and let's play around. Should they be combined? Should they be differentiated? Or do you want to just sometimes number 3 is the right option to just do the extra work to explain it. Sometimes that's what you actually want to do. And in our case here at OOUX HQ, the right answer was to combine them, but please give me feedback, let me know. And I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. Happy OOUXing, and I'll see you in the forum. Thank you so much for listening to the UX Level Up podcast. If you want to connect with me, Sophia, please follow me on Instagram at SophiaVUX, or you can find me on LinkedIn, Sophia Prater. I'm pretty easy to find there. Our music was brought to you by Ruby Vell, courtesy of Sugaroo Records. Thanks again for listening.